Hi, my name is Tyler Frieders. I work for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. I'm going to show you how to take a composite sample using your composite sampler that you got from your integrated sampler while you're out on the lake. Now that we're back at the truck, we're going to take our composite sampler, make sure you got it shaken up, and in this sample we're going to not take our C sample but our A, B, and chlorophyll A sample. During these samples we're going to be triple rinsing each bottle. Make sure not to touch the lip of your bottle to your composite sampler. After 3 rinses, you're going to fill the bottle up to the neck here, or the shoulders of the bottle, and cap it. Throw it in your cooler full of ice. Make sure it's ready to ship off to the carrier. Moving on to the B bottle, same sort of deal. We're triple rinsing the bottle. Now this bottle, we actually have to put 2 milliliters of sulfuric acid into it. Open our sulfuric acid. We're taking 2 milliliters of sulfuric acid and transferring it to the B bottle. It's very important that you don't use more than 2 milliliters of sulfuric acid in this sample, and try not to touch the mouth of the B bottle either when you're doing that. When we're done with that, we throw that pipette away. Cap our B bottle, make sure it's labeled, and we're going to throw it in the cooler full of ice ready for the carrier. The last bottle we're doing is our chlorophyll A bottle, and just like the other bottles, you can bet we're triple rinsing it. Capping it, putting our label on it, and getting it in the cooler right away. And that's all there is to it. Okay, we're quickly going to go over how to label your chlorophyll sample. We're going to throw in a date up here, the time we took our sample. This is in military time. Your initials, and generally it's already going to have your surface sample marked and whatever bottle you're labeling marked for you, but if it doesn't, you're going to make sure to mark chlorophyll A. This specific sample was a composite sample, so we're going to go ahead and mark that. And the other things you might actually have to label is your project or source, sometimes your station even, but fill those blanks in and then slap them onto your chlorophyll bottle like that. So you have your date, time, initials, surface sample. It's marked chlorophyll A. It has station ID and the project on there. So that's everything that we need for lab. As well as to note that you also should write down the amount of milliliters that you're collecting. This is a 1,000 milliliter bottle. If you're collecting a 500 milliliter sample, you're going to want to write that in that label header. So that's it for chlorophylls. Okay, we're going to quickly do an A sample label. We're going to initial right here, date down here. You're going to want to put your time in military time. So if it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to put 13 o'clock. You're going to make sure you have surface marked that and the A bottle marked, as well as you're going to want to make sure that your project station ID is also marked on your label. And then once we got that all marked up, we're going to slap that label onto our bottle like this. Focus in there for you, and as you can see, we got our initials, time, dated, bottle, letter there marked, and that's it. Okay, so we're quickly going to do a B label for a bottle. Same thing here as the other ones. We're initialing. We're going to throw in a time in military time. We're dating it every time. Make sure your station ID is right. Make sure your project is right, and hopefully you got a stream name in there. Okay, we're quickly going to show you how to do a data sheet up at the truck. The big things here, you're going to be signing your name, time, and date. A lot of the times the rest will be filled out, but if you don't, you're going to need your agency code, your source water, your site location, project, and project ID over here. The big thing here is what you're marking for your samples. Composite, if it's a composite sample, a grab if it's a grab, or your blank and replicate samples over here. So if I was sending in a bunch of composite samples, we're gonna make sure this one's marked. If I was gonna send in, say, a bunch of composite samples and replicate samples, we're gonna mark, say, replicate on the next data sheet instead of composite. But other than that, another good thing to note is down here, usually they're going to have what the health lab's going to be testing for prior to you labeling it yourself. But if not, make sure in your A bottle, B bottle, and C bottle, you have checked off what we need the health lab to be testing for. Other than that, I suppose a big thing to remember is make sure that these data sheets get into that gallon Ziploc bag on the bottom of your cooler lid, and make sure it's sealed up and waterproof for the trip. That's it. One last thing to remember is to always wear nitrile or latex gloves, and you can find more on this in the field manual on page 8 of your field guide. Other than that, stay safe and have fun out there.